to make Westwood a national park or having all the people associated with it. The concession owner for the Glarus is Delaware North, Jacobs. They own the concession in Yellowstone Park. So they have experience. And the guy who is the person who is the overseer of this contract here in Westwood.
All right, you're live.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order of the Wyoming County Adjusted Development Agency. And I think we better have another roll call. Scott?
Scott Gardner, Wyoming County IDA.
Dr. Fishner, Wyoming County IDA.
Jim Pierce, Wyoming County IDA. Jim Rotowski.
Doug Burwagner, Wyoming County IDA.
Mark Dead, Wyoming County IDA.
Becky Ryan, IDA. Nicole Hastings, IDA.
Joe Gozowski, County IDA.
Kevin Zanner, IDA Council.
Robin Marshallick, IDA.
All right, we have the board minutes from January 12th. Let's everybody take a quick look at them. Do you have any questions or discussions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We also had the financial report from the 1st of January till the 31st. And Robin, once again, would you highlight anything in here that you think is unusual?
Yeah, well, we started out the month with $844,412 in cash and $1,644,503 invested funds. We did bring in some fees earned and some interest earned. A lot of that shows as earned as on our cash report was actually accrued in 2022, but it's on our cash flow because it's on our cash report for this month. We had our typical normal expenses for the month, nothing out of the ordinary there. when you look at the cash on hand at the end of the month, we had 87,520. That's because if you look down into our vested funds, we have 2,443,000. We opened up a couple, three more actually, CDs, I believe it was, and moved some money into CDs to earn some interest on it. So that's why it's, we started out at 844, we're down to 87. I just want to let you know that's why. So end of the month was 2,530,614 in combination. And then on the back, again, it was the first month of the year, so there wasn't a whole lot going on yet, and there wasn't anything out of the ordinary, so it's just rolling. Any questions?
Any questions, any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the report as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we have, as we had with the BCC investment report.
Yeah.
Again, could you give us a review of that?
It's the same as what I said with the BAC. We had kind of jumped the gun and did our investment report, and then when we got our collaboration from the bank as far as what we earned, they had more on there because they were showing accrued at the end of December, and we hadn't realized those funds yet. We didn't give them surety amounts until January, February. So, so this is the amended amount. We went up to 7,492.83 for the year invested or in interest earned. Yeah.
They keep pushing up the Fed rate,
Yeah.
0.17, 0.08.
The good news is we invested that money, or I've been talking about in the financials, in kind of a laddered system for CDs, and they're all averaging about 4%.
That's what we just signed the paperwork on?
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the investment report? Approve the investment report. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and I'll ask Jim to give us a brief review of the request by Letchworth Valley Resort Campground.
Yeah, in your packet is just a quick email from Billy Crowe from Letchworth Campground, and he's asking for an extension of the sales tax for another year. This project, obviously, like all our projects, have been delayed with supply chain issues and a variety of things, so it's just a simple request to extend it for another year until February 28th of 2023.
And that would be your recommendation?
Yes.
Any questions, discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the request?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
All right, Jim, once again, on item 4, could you bring us up to date?
Yeah, the next item is the discussion item on Sun East Highview. We put it on here because they have supposedly purchased all of the rights for the Niagara Solar project in the town of Bennington. And if they were gonna get all their ducks in a row, we thought that they might come in and ask for an assignment and assumption of all the IDA incentives that were granted to the Niagara Solar project. They don't have all their ducks in a row yet. So my recommendation would be to table it until they do. So their plan is not to change significantly any of the project. Crew has been scoped out, and still be a 20 megawatt project. However, costs are going to be changing significantly since this project has been approved for 4 years now.
Do I have a motion to table that item until our next meeting?
I'll move to table that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And Jim, you have your regular report.
I do, just a couple quick things. Still working with the manufacturer here in Warsaw about the squash court project. They're trying to acquire a larger building because they've outgrown the one that they have. They are working on finalizing their finances currently and getting their renovation costs put together so they can put together the final package
for the bank. They are also going to be looking to come to the BAC for a loan as well as some IDA incentives. So they're working on all three of those things at the present time. I had a meeting yesterday, a conference call meeting actually with the developer for Holiday Inn Express. The project has received all its planning board approvals, and they're working with DEC on drainage, and they're working with the HVAC guys. They haven't applied for a building permit, but there still is a little bit of a delay in finalizing the financing for this. And they have brought a private investor in with them, and if the bank is going to be a little hesitant about the financing, they assured me that they are ready to bring in some additional investors as well. But their plan is to break ground in May, so nothing has changed from that regard. So, they will be coming in with an IDA application as well. So we're with a metal fabric business over in Arcade. We did a project for them like 10 years ago. They're expanding again. They haven't come in with an application yet. Same with a agricultural business in the town of Jago. A lot of these companies, they talk to me about expansions and they start putting their numbers together and then they get really scared and then they try to reduce the numbers. And so a lot of these are there's a lot of pipeline projects that just aren't moving forward. TPI over in Arcade, I originally talked to the board about them wanting to do a $16 million expansion. They were going to double the size of the building, put in a complete line, new aluminum casting line. They have since found some relatively low-cost warehousing space in the Tri-County Business Park, the property that Frank Bork bought. He put up a couple buildings there, so they're warehousing some of their stuff over there. It's freed up space in their building. So now they just want to move forward with just the equipment, which still is a $10 million investment. So we had the opportunity about 3 weeks ago to bring into Wyoming County the new regional director and deputy director of the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council. I loaded them up in my truck and we toured them all around Wyoming County. I took them to TPI because I knew that TPI needed a little push for some incentives, and so now the state is looking at how they can help out with this equipment. But we toured them throughout Wyoming County, and then we came back here and we met with our economic development team. They're really impressed with what we have here, and I thought it was just a great opportunity for us to kind of showcase Wyoming County to a state entity that essentially is making decisions on right now.
And this is the one that took Benny Esposito's place.
Oh, yeah.
Benny moved up.
Okay. Who is it? What's his name? Or-
Yeah, Laura O'Sullivan,
Or Spano.
and the deputy director is Bridget O'Brien.
I know,
Yes,
it
that's
sounds very Irish.
So we had a meeting here, and I think from the board, Becky and the chairman were there as well, so we appreciate you guys coming. Had a phone call, and I think some of you folks know about this, a company or consultant working for Mitsubishi, I can never say that, right? Who's partnering with Texas Brine and Plug Power. They're interested in doing kind of a power plant in the town of Middlebury around the area where Texas Brine is. And the idea is to power the plant with hydrogen and then possibly store some of the hydrogen in the salt brine wells. So I knew that the project is just in concept right now. I knew that a project like this might garner some critical opposition, or at least somebody not wanting it in their backyard. So I thought the logical place for this project to start would be with the supervisor for the town to see if there's going to be some local acceptance for this type of concept. So that's where they're started out. And they'll be coming back here, I think, after they get a kind of lay of the land for Middlebury. I also met again with the developer for the former MK property that the business center is working on. They have asked us to step in and try to get the zoning redone on the property. So we had asked the zoning officer to help us with that. And I actually went to the planning board myself to try to get the property rezoned. It's kind of a mixed use because what he would like to do there is put in some housing, but also combine a little commercial. And so we had asked for just this property to get rezoned, and I know Doug, you know this, the planning board took it on their own to kind of, well, if we're gonna open it up and look at this property, why don't we look at all these other properties that are questioned? So there was a letter put together from the planning board, sent out to both the town and village, because it's a joint planning board. And so it's gonna take a little bit longer to do that, so. The project is still moving forward, and we just gotta get the EPA contract signed so we can begin doing some work over there. Then I had a contact of one of our graduates from the fast track program looking for funding for an ag project that he's working on. And then the dairy processing project that I talked to you about for the Tri-County Business Park is still there where it was. We're still working with Empire State Development on that. Farmcraft Brewing Project, I thought I'd give you a quick update on them. They've been kind of shopping around to various lending institutions trying to get the best deal possible. They have 3 approvals in hand already. They're just trying to evaluate which one works best for them. There's going to be a piece for the VAC in terms of financing there as well.
Is this the one on 28
Yes.
Harris Corners?
Yeah.
Right.
I have some back channel information on that, which I don't think I should
Okay.
discuss.
And then the last item I wanted to talk about, we did get in a application for our Gap Railroad for a grant anticipation note for a grant that they received to do the safety gates on Route 98 in the town of Chambers. So we'll be working with the Arcade National Railroad on getting something like that approved.
You fix that bump in the road too. That's a launcher, that one.
Which one you talking about? 78 or 90?
No, road between.
Oh, he's on Chafee Road.
Chafee.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Been a lot of engineering on that.
I have some of the engineering.
Didn't know.
It's a surprise.
That's all.
Any other business before we go into our executive session?
Yeah, actually, I do have one item, and it kind of grows out of the challenges we're having getting paid for council and paid for the IDA as well. We charge a 1% fee. We usually wait till the whole project is done before they have to pay the fee. So what we've been talking about is maybe asking that we have the developer pay like 20% down of our fee and 20% down of the attorney fees on projects before we issue them the sales tax exemption. Because that way we'll at least have our costs covered and not be sitting like, for example, this Niagara Solar project's been sitting there for 4 years and nobody's been paid on that. So I think it's just, I know other IDAs do this, and it's probably something we should look at. We've had the good fortune to be able to sit on a relatively large nest egg, so it hasn't been an issue for us, but, if you're gonna, you should just make sure you get your money.
They're all still walking around with their hand out.
Exactly right.
So, come across.
What I'd like to do is recommend that we make that change to our fee policy.
You need a motion on that? I'll make.
All in favor?
I don't have any other business, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we, I always have our attorney do this very legally, so we can go into executive session, because I can't seem to get it straight in my mind this week. First of all, we have to have our step 1 to go into executive session.
So I think based on the item on the agenda, the board is looking to go into executive session to discuss employment compensation for staff.
That's correct.
Someone wants to-
Do I have a motion to go into executive session on that basis? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now in executive session.
Okay, hold on a moment.